Okay, so if people join us as we go through, they'll have to just catch up with us, but don't want to waste too much of your time. My name is Jameer Abney. I am one of our Associate Deans of Admission here at Colgate University. I also am the coordinator of outreach for opportunity and inclusion, which means I oversee all of our diversity and inclusion outreach efforts, including having the pleasure to be able to lead our typical annual fly-in program, Colgate in Focus. Obviously, with COVID-19, this year's program has been impacted, and so we're doing something a little bit different this summer and going to actually be offering a virtual series throughout the summer with different webinars, starting with our kickoff tonight, and then throughout July and August, programs that feature individuals from our team in admissions, faculty, different staff from offices from across campus, as well as current students. And first thing I wanted to do, in addition to introducing myself, I also have my colleague here, Pat. We'll allow him to introduce himself in just a second, but giving you a little bit of an idea of what we'll be doing. First, going to go over what this program is, what a typical year would look like, as well as what you should expect from the program this year. Also going to give you some information in general about Colgate and walk through a little bit about who we are, the resources on campus, good sense of the academic environment, opportunities that you might have, and then also talk to you about our admission and aid process. We are going to only spend probably about 30 to 40 minutes with you for this particular webinar because throughout the series, you're actually going to learn a lot more about Colgate, and we don't want to take away from your opportunity to engage with our colleagues, with some of the great students on our campus, as well as different faculty and other staff, as I mentioned earlier. So we aren't going to get too in-depth with some of these topics. We will answer some of the questions that you submitted to us prior to the webinar tonight, but we are going to stay pretty broad level just because we want you to come back, continue to engage with us and get the most out of this virtual experience. But we do also want to make sure you have a good baseline to walk away with so that you can get excited about all that Colgate has to offer. So Pat, you want to introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, so my name is Pat Graney. I'm one of the assistant deans of admission for Colgate. I travel for the school normally, read applications. My territories that I cover are Western Massachusetts, Western New York, Ohio, Michigan, Indiana, Missouri, Kansas, Nebraska, Iowa, and both Dakotas. So if you're from any of those places, welcome. I'm also on the communications team, so I kind of do a lot of the emails and outreach going out for kind of general overview. And also just so everyone knows, we're going to be using the Q&A function tonight for any kind of questions that come in live. Like Jameer said, we got a lot of questions submitted, but we want you to be able to hear not only from us, but also from people across campus that have that in-depth knowledge. So we will try to get to as many questions as we can tonight, but always come back because you'll have those people that have that great knowledge on later sessions.
Awesome, thanks, Pat. So Pat, you talked about some of the places that you travel to, a little bit more about me. In addition to working with diversity recruitment and inclusion initiatives for our team, I work specifically with students in Texas, Oklahoma, Wisconsin, and Illinois. But because of the work that I do in our application process, as well as with Colgate in Focus and other particular areas that focus around diversity and access, you might find me anywhere, to be honest, attending a variety of different programs and really engaging and thinking about how we can provide an equitable experience for all students, regardless of your background. We will ask you to save the bulk of your questions until the end, because actually you might find as we go through the information here that you're going to get some of your questions answered. So we are going to hold off on questions until later in the process. But as I mentioned, where we first want to start is actually telling you a little bit about this open house. So Colgate in Focus is our diversity open house that we host each year. Typically the program is in early to mid-October. Last year we welcomed 77 students. We've had anywhere in the 3 years that I've been at Colgate between about 50 all the way up to, I said, almost 80 students this past year. So we've seen the program grow over the time that I've been a part of the team. And typically it's a 3-day, 2-night experience where we fly students into campus, or bus them onto campus. They get a current student as an overnight host and get to spend 2 nights on campus, really experiencing the campus up close, getting to see our community for themselves, hear from current students, go to lectures, attend a class, and get to see what the classroom experience looks like. This last year's program, we actually had a really great guest speaker on campus, Dr. Anthony Jack, who was coming off of writing a book that looked at selective university admissions. And so that lecture was a feature part of the experience. So a really great program that we are bummed that we're likely not going to be able to host this year. But through the summer virtual experience, we hope to be able to actually engage more students and tell you more about what Colgate has to offer. And so the first place that you want to go is directly to this webpage. And Pat, will you actually chat out where this page is? Because not only does it give you a good overview of the program, just kind of in general, but also is going to be a place where you're going to see quote from current students. Right now we have one from one of our current first year students who's finishing up with us in our first year this year. You'll see more of these types of quotes, maybe pictures from previous years of the program, but also very important, this is also where you can find the dates and be able to register for future sessions as part of this summer series. And so what you'll see right now is that we're going to host about 1 to 2 different webinars starting next week and give you an opportunity to learn more about Colgate directly from there. And so you can go in, click on these and drag down box and get to see more about what the session is about, register directly here. And in addition to being able to go to this page, you're also going to be receiving emails from us to learn more about the sessions and when they're going to be hosted, who's going to be involved, a little bit more about the session and what it's going to cover. And like we said, while we will touch on some high level information throughout this opening session, we don't want to take away from the great information and the great people that you're going to hear from throughout the summer as a part of this series. But also I will note that in addition to this Colgate in Focus summer series, we have an entire separate set of sessions and webinars and panels that'll be going on as well that you're also going to receive information about. So don't get them confused. The other one is going to be called the This is Colgate summer series, and it's more general to Colgate information and general to the Colgate population and the community that we have to offer, where this program, Colgate in Focus, is specifically tailored to students who come from diverse ethnic and racial background, first generation students, students from low income or low socioeconomic status backgrounds, so students who might be facing particularly unique or challenging circumstances as they're preparing for college is typically who we welcome for this particular program. And so that's who we're going to be sending out this information about the summer series for Colgate in Focus. So a little bit different, but you should participate in both. These are going to offer you great opportunities to learn more about specific majors, programs, some of the resources on campus, and really get a good sense of where you would fit in as a part of our community and the ways that we would try to support you and make sure that you're able to be successful. So definitely take advantage of this webpage. Make sure you're checking your email and getting information about the different programs that are going to be coming up for you. But first, just wanted to make sure that you're aware of this being available to you and that you have a good sense of what we're going to be offering for you throughout the summer. And we don't want to take away from what those opportunities are going to be. So again, we are going to stay pretty general throughout the 30 to 40 minutes that we're with you tonight. But definitely keep coming back so you can learn more great things about Colgate. But first, what we're going to open up with you is actually with the video. This is Colgate video is one that we're using to try to give a very short general overview of our community. So we'll start there, jump into a presentation. I see we've already had a couple questions come in. We are going to run through information first, and then we'll come back to your questions at the end.
Set on a hillside in the center of New York State is one of America's preeminent institutions of higher education, opening its doors to the best and brightest. Colgate University offers 56 diverse majors, extraordinary research opportunities, more than 220 clubs, and the highest level of competition in athletics, Division I. Distinguished by its talented research faculty, engaged and creative student body, passionate and successful alumni, and a residential community where life and learning transcend disciplines and cultures. A scene of unforgettable beauty, of energy and spirit, of community and intellectual preparation for life. This is Colgate.
So awesome. So that does a great job of giving you the first sense of what Colgate has to offer, just a broad overview. And I'm going to jump into a presentation. I'm going to spend maybe about 10 to 15 minutes just kind of giving you some general information about Colgate. Some of this is some of the same stuff that you would see on our general information session. And then have the opportunity to be able to open up to you for particular questions. But also we are going to touch on a few themes that we saw in some of the questions that were sent to us beforehand. So again, just know a lot of your questions will actually be answered through the presentation, as well as getting to some of those broad-based themes. And again, I don't want to take away from the rest of the summer series. We do want you to participate throughout the summer to hear more, especially from current students. I know a lot of the questions were centered around what the student experience is like. So definitely come back, because you will hear from some of our current students, some who actually did participate in this program in years prior as well. So definitely take advantage of that opportunity to learn more about Colgate. But speaking of our students, we're just under 3,000 undergraduate students. So we are a small community, but a community that brings students from all over the world and all over the country. You see here 48 states and over 70 countries represented. And because most of our students do live on campus, a place where you're going to get the opportunity to really engage and build community in a variety of different ways, but also the fact that our roughly 300 full-time faculty, most of them live in the area as well. So when you think about this broader community, it's not just the students and the people on campus with you, you're also going to engage with the local community of Hamilton, one, because a lot of our faculty are part of that community, but also because this is a small rural environment. And so the campus is a very integral piece of what you're going to find in the wider Hamilton area. And actually the next two sessions as a part of this series speak to Colgate and Hamilton and what it's like to be a part of a small community like this. But I think one of the great things, and I think the video touches on this very well, is that this is a place that offers some big opportunities within a small package. It's a place that, as the video mentions, we have Division I athletics within our campus. So a small school with the highest level of athletic opportunities, scholarship athletes there. And you saw a short clip of our basketball team who actually took the University of Tennessee down to the wire in the NCAA March Madness tournament a year ago, which was really exciting. So definitely a place that's going to offer you a lot in terms of school spirit and energy and opportunities to engage. And because most of our students and faculty live within the area, to build very much close and personal relationships that are going to go with you well beyond just your 4 years on campus. But also beyond just having Division I sports, a lot of great opportunities for you to find your niche and find whatever it is that you're interested in. Over 200 clubs and organizations that are offered on our campus, all student-led type of experiences where you get a great opportunity to build your skills as a leader, have opportunity to host events, to get involved with the local community and give back if that's something that you're really passionate about. Service is a huge part of our community. In fact, one of our clubs actually works with the local community health center and has an opportunity where students can be trained and get certified to be EMTs and be emergency responders. So if you're really excited about maybe going on to medical school, or you just want a really great opportunity to get involved and ingrained and give back, that's a very unique way that you can do that. But also, if there's not something that you see listed in the clubs and organizations, you can always start something new. It only takes roughly about 30 signatures, an advisor, one of the faculty or staff members to get involved with you, and you can start something new. You also see in those affinity groups, we have Greek life on our campus, so fraternity and sorority organizations if you're looking for that. And then we also have other affinity groups that focus on different religious beliefs or race and cultural affinity or different identity groups, depending upon what your interests and passions are, what you're engaged with or looking for in terms of community. So whatever it is that you might be excited about or interested in, this is a place that offers a lot of great ways for you to get involved, whatever that might be, and to have the people there to support you in finding your group and finding your community to be a part of. I think this quote from President Casey does a really great job of signifying that, because it also speaks to the history of the place. In 2019, we celebrated our 200th anniversary. Our bicentennial celebration was one that Colgate was very excited about, because it shows a lot about how long that we've been able to develop and build a tradition. But also, I think one of the exciting things is you look at the history of Colgate and is where we're going. And really, when you think about Colgate, one of the things that we did in our bicentennial was look ahead to think about, well, what does the next 100 years look like? And one of the things that actually came out of that was a brand new strategic plan called the Third Century Plan. And one of the key goals there was thinking about how do we improve upon the legacy, the history, the traditions of the place? How do we continue to build upon a place that's had a longstanding role in this area here in upstate New York, but also wants to be better and continue to offer even more to our students and to our community? And integral within that, and one of the pieces that I was very much involved in, was an entire separate plan, a strategic vision around diversity, equity, and inclusion that is a central part of the broader third century plan. And so I saw several of your questions that we'll touch on later were themes around what does diversity look like within the campus? What is it in terms of being a student of color within this experience? And you'll actually hear more about that throughout the summer, as well as one of the sessions is actually focused around being a student of color on Colgate's campus. When you look at the makeup of the student body, the roughly 3,000 students, we are a historically predominantly white institution. Roughly about 2/3 of our students are students who identify as white. So you're looking at about 1/3 of our students are either students of color or international students, but continues to grow. And our efforts around that continue to grow as well. And in fact, this fall, we'll be welcoming the most diverse class of an incoming first-year class in Colgate's history. Over 200 of our incoming students, which roughly each year's class is around 700 to 800 students. Over 200 of those students are going to be domestic students of color, people who identify as non-white, as well as roughly 80 to 90 international students as well. So a population that we're very excited to be able to say we're making progress towards those particular goals of making this a place that more diverse students are looking at, but also thinking about the ways that we can support students regardless of what your identity, regardless of what your affinity is or how you identify, making sure we have the resources that allow you to be successful and thrive within the community. But of course, at the heart of who we are is an academic place. Over 50 majors, 8 unique minors, a place that really believes in a very strong intellectual and academic experience. And when you think about that, what you see here is a small class led by a faculty member. And that's typically what you're going to see at Colgate. The average class size is under 20 students. All of our classes are led by faculty members, so the opportunity to really engage with the experts, to build those close relationships and get to know your professors very, very well. And the early part of your experience is actually designed around our core curriculum and give you an opportunity to start with the foundation that everybody's going to get a core liberal arts experience, a well-rounded educational academic opportunity, and then in your junior and senior year, going into a focused major in an area that you want to really build your expertise within. And that's where you're going to have the opportunity as a student to focus in on that particular academic area, as well as maybe take on research opportunities, internship opportunities, and other experiences that allow you to gauge and build towards a particular professional goal. But I think what's great is the learning that students do beyond the classroom as well. We're a school that's very well known for our off-campus study opportunities and the research that students will do. And we definitely describe ourselves as a liberal arts and sciences university because it's not just the humanities, it's not just social sciences, it's not just writing and reading that you're going to do. But if you're someone that's looking for a really intensive STEM experience, you can find that here. If you're someone that's looking to be able to be out in the field doing research, you can do that as well. When you look at our off-campus study opportunities, over 100 programs in over 100 countries on all 7 continents that you can take advantage of. And we have faculty-led experiences where they're taking roughly about 20 students to different parts of the world to be able to engage, as well as independent experience where you might have an opportunity to directly enroll in the campus and be there and have your own independent-led experience. Summer opportunities that students can take advantage of. So you can be really creative around what you're looking for in terms of an off-campus study. But as I mentioned, some of those things do overlap with research experiences as well. Maybe you're doing something where you're with a group of students who's in a particular major with a faculty member, and you're actually doing field research during that time. We have a really great program for students interested in health sciences at the National Institutes of Health in the DC area, where you're having an opportunity to work alongside experts in that field, doing field research, as well as taking courses during your time and semester that you're spending there. Or maybe you're someone who's interested in archaeology and you want to go and excavate. You can do that too. So really, when you're thinking about what an off-campus study might look like, it may not be just taking courses. It may not be just sitting in a classroom. You can be learning in the field and doing research and having that hands-on experience that you're looking for over the summer, during a semester, or even we have something called an extended study where you actually take a course for a full semester with the faculty member, and then that group of students and that professor will go for 2 to 3 weeks, either over the winter break or over the summer break, to extend upon what you've been learning in the classroom. So lots of different ways that you can take advantage of learning outside of the classroom, whether it be in a different part of the world, a different part of the country, or in a lab somewhere. But one of the things that I think is great that I heard from one of our students this past year, one of our current summer interns, who's a first year student, is actually how many early opportunities are available for first and second year students as well. You don't have to wait. If you're interested in something, you want to pursue an opportunity, our faculty have open office hours. They engage and bring students into research opportunities and experiences early on, so you don't have to wait to participate. If you're looking for something in particular, find that thing, go to the source, ask about ways that you can get involved, and you can definitely do that. With all of that being towards building towards what you're going to do after Colgate as well. And this chart does a great job of exemplifying how quickly our students find success in life after Colgate. And there's an entire session, again, we'll keep referring to what's happening throughout the summer, an entire session that talks about living the liberal arts beyond your 4 years as an undergraduate student, and having alumni come back and talk about the ways that they've been able to utilize their experience in the classroom, their experience in the labs, off-campus study opportunities, internships, et cetera, to be able to help them be successful in their career field. And what this shows is very great success early on. So for the class of 2017, and we do this each year for our classes that graduate, is we poll them about 6 to 9 months out and reach out and ask, where are you? And what you'll see here is that within 6 to 9 months, nearly 99% of our students are employed in graduate school or otherwise engaged and involved in a particular career field or interest area that they're wanting to pursue. So this is an education that translates for you to transition very well and do that early on and very quickly. So this isn't something where you're going to get your degree and not be able to go and be successful in the area that you're looking for. Our students graduate and find the things that they're passionate about and are able to go after them. And we have a great alumni community that comes back to campus. They host panels, they host sessions to be able to engage students, they mentor. Our career services office does an entire week where they bring groups of alumni in different career areas to campus to be able to engage students who are looking to go into those specific fields. We have a great alumni community that works with us and does recruitment. They do interviews, they go to events with us. They host celebratory events for students who are going into their first year at Colgate. So definitely if you're thinking about alumni and connections and being able to be successful, this really shows that we translate very well, but also we have a great alumni community that's very passionate about the place to make sure that you're able to be successful. And then finally, as you look at this picture of our quad here, is the university is a lot about the people that we attract and the work that we do in the admissions office. And I talked earlier about our success this year and being able to bring in a diverse class, but we think very intentionally about our admissions and aids process and really wanting to make sure that our process is equitable, that our process takes into account all the different contexts that's necessary to understand success and really measure how students have prepared themselves for what is a rigorous academic experience. So the first thing obviously is our application deadlines. You'll see here November 15 and January 15 are the dates to be most aware of, our early decision and regular decision dates. But we do also have an early decision 2 option that you'll see there in parentheses and in italics. An early decision 2 allows a student who's really interested in Colgate, but maybe that November 15 date is a little early because you're not quite certain you want to make that commitment that comes with an early decision application. As long as you apply by January 15th, you can actually convert your application to early decision 2 up until March 1st. And so it gives you time to do your homework, to do more research, to understand if this is the right fit for you. Because if you are applying early decision to a place, you're making that commitment that if I'm admitted, I'm going to enroll. And for a lot of students to do that in the fall of their senior year is hard, and we understand that. So this early decision 2 option gives you the ability to learn a little bit more and take a little bit more time. We utilize both the common application as well as the coalition application, either or, no preference. This year will actually be test optional as well when you look at our requirements for the first time, understanding that a lot of students aren't going to have access to testing. In addition to your application, we have supplemental essays that we require for you to complete in the past, but this year, again, those will be optional as well. We ask you things like why you're interested in attending Colgate. Tell us about diverse experiences that you've had in the past. We've asked questions around 3 words that you'd use to describe yourself. So lots of different ways that we try to get to know you a little bit better in addition to the application essay that you're going to submit. We also allow you to submit videos if you're a performer and you want us to see, do you showcasing your performance or your artistic capabilities? Students submit resumes and other supplemental pieces to let us know more about them. And really the admission application is an opportunity for us to do a holistic assessment of who you are. And so we always tell students as much information as you want us to know about you and understand you is very important to us. And we're also doing research of understanding where you're coming from as well. We talked earlier about the areas that we travel to, and the reason for that is so we have a better understanding of the communities and the populations that you're a part of, and use that as context with the application and getting a good sense of how you've been prepared and what's been offered to you in terms of opportunities and resources beyond just the classroom. Those deadlines that you see there are the same for our financial aid. And the reason for that is we're going to send you your admission letter alongside with the full financial aid package. We are a school that meets 100% of demonstrated need, which means whatever it is that you need, if we're admitting you, we're saying we're going to meet that full price. And you'll see the average debt there is under $15,000. So we are a school that's very, very generous and competitive in terms of financial aid. The average award there is a great number, but we're going all the way up to the full cost of tuition for some of our students. And because we don't offer any merit-based aid, it is all need-based. You're talking primarily grants that students are receiving. So money you don't have to pay back, or money you don't have to qualify for with a particular GPA or an extra application. It's all just looking at your general application. If we're saying you're prepared and you can be successful here, we're going to meet your need to be able to make this an opportunity that you can afford. So that's the basic information, just overview generally. The last thing we did want to touch on was a couple of themes that came through in the earlier questions. As I mentioned, we are going to stay pretty high level and then allow you to ask some of your questions live, and we'll get to some of those. Academics was a big question. Popular majors was one. Things like econ, international relations, biology and chemistry and the sciences are very popular. Psychology is a popular major on our campus as well. Transportation to and from campus. We actually do have our own shuttle service in town that you can utilize getting around just the area. We also do campus shuttles to the airport during high travel season. So when students are coming to campus in the fall, when students are leaving over breaks, we do have a shuttle service that we run as well. There's a New York City bus for students who are New York City residents that they can take advantage of as well. So definitely we think about transportation being in a rural location, making sure students can get to and from campus, especially students that are traveling very far away. Campus resources was one that was asked about a lot. There is an entire, again, session that's going to focus on campus resources and student support resources, but we do have very particular opportunities. We have a mental health counselors on campus. We have a wellness center on campus. We have our Alana Cultural Center for students who identify as racial and ethnically diverse, and they do a ton of great projects to educate students in our community, but also to provide a welcoming space and a hangout spot for students. We have our own campus health facilities that you can take advantage of. So definitely a lot of support resources. We are a small community, so it's very easy for you to connect directly with the people who can help you with whatever problems that you might have. There were several questions asking about life after Colgate. I did show you that great graphic there to tell you about the transition and students able to be successful. And there's an entire session on August 13th that's focused and dedicated on life after the liberal arts, professional development opportunities, internships, pre-professional advising. Would you have a separate advising section for students who are interested in business, the health sciences, engineering, and other pre-professional areas? So career service is very much focused on areas where you won't see a major, but we know that students are looking for those opportunities in terms of their professional goals. So definitely something you'll find on our campus as well. I talked a little bit about some of the community life. One big tradition, and several people asked about this, is an affinity with the number 13. This goes back to Colgate's founding. We're founded by 13 men with $13 and 13 prayers. The university is located at 13 Oak Drive. Zip code is 13346, which 13 and 346 adds up to the number 13. And then anytime we have a Friday the 13th, that's Colgate Day, so we celebrate. So 13 is our lucky number. So if you find the number 13 at Colgate, that might be a sign for you. So don't think it's a bad thing. This is your opportunity to find a place where 13 is good. So a couple of key areas, broad-based themes, but again, not going to get too in depth with some of these things because we have an entire summer series, 2 of them, as I mentioned earlier, where you can find out more about some of these things. And also feel free to reach out to our summer interns as well as your regional admission officer to be able to learn more and get to some of your in-depth questions as well.
Yeah, perfect. So, Jamil, we did have a couple questions that came in. Um, so first question, can Colgate in Focus, can this program be helpful for prospective international students?
So the program is typically for domestic students is usually what we've done this for, given the travel component of it. We do understand that we'll have some international students that probably participate in this in the online format this year, but it is not typically a program for international students. It is domestic only. But my colleague, our colleague Corey Deatley does run our international recruitment, and we do a ton of international outreach. And actually, there'll be some programming throughout the summer for international students as well. And we do have an Office of International Student Services led by Kira Hunter and her team, and they do a really great job supporting our international community. So you're definitely going to find great support resources and opportunities throughout the summer to learn more about the specifics as an international student as well.
Next question that came in, you had talked about the diversity of the student body, but how diverse is the staff?
So our team, we have a good mix of people in terms of geographic region, ethnic and racial background. When you look at the staff and faculty, again, we are a historically predominantly white institution, so it is, I would say, a very white campus, even looking at staff and faculty, but that is something, as you look at diversity, equity, and inclusion in our broad-based plan, is looking at hiring as well. We are in the process of hiring a chief diversity officer, something that we're looking at, so a senior level person. And actually one of the things that I think really stands out about Colgate, to be honest, is if you look at our senior leadership, it is a very diverse group of people. We have a woman who's vice provost and dean of the faculty, a woman of color who leads our communications office, an openly LGBTQ identifying man who's the head of dean of the college, which is student affairs. The chief of staff for the president's office is a Hispanic identifying woman. So you find a great group at our senior leadership level, at the highest top level of decision makers, is a very diverse group of people. And I think that really bodes well for where we're going in terms of diversity and inclusion, and the fact that our third century plan, our strategic vision, had diversity and inclusion as a central and essential part of that work. I think says a lot about where Colgate is going in terms of hiring, recruiting students, and also thinking about diversity and support of students once they get to campus as well.
Perfect. Next question, how many students are usually accepted into the OUS program, Office of Undergraduate Studies?
So OUS is one of the areas that I oversee the selection for. And because it's not a separate application, we flag students through the regular admission process, students who fit the criteria of the program. Usually it's about 30 to 40 students that enroll via OUS. So we're usually probably admitting closer to maybe 125 or so, and then getting to that number 30 to 40. So we are admitting more than we end up seeing actually enroll through the program. OUS is one of our 3 scholar programs. And actually this year, the other 2, Benton and the Alumni Memorial Scholar Program, we also looked intentionally at making those groups more diverse as well. Although Benton is undergoing a review and may be changed in the coming couple of years. So that one may become a little bit different than what has been in the past for just first year students. But each of the 3 programs we've looked at, thinking about diversity from ethnic and racial background, socioeconomic background, also geography as well. AMS and Benton are programs that are open to international students, whereas OUS is focused on domestic students, permanent residents, as well as DACA and undocumented students.
One thing, in your opinion, that Colgate can improve upon? You touched on briefly.
I talked a little bit about the diversity aspects. That's definitely something that we're very much focused on and thinking about intentionally. And I think a lot of higher education institutions are thinking a lot about diversity within student body, within staff and faculty, and it's something that we can definitely do better at. I think as you look at the number, you look at the statistics, we're not where we would like to be. But I think there's a lot of really great work that's going on in that area, both in our office. Some of the key things, one I didn't mention earlier was something called the No Loan Initiative that was instituted this past year, where our board of trustees actually signed off on a program that for all students whose family, the income is $125,000 or less, we're going to package you with financial aid with no student loans at all. So this making it even more affordable, even with the competitive financial aid that we offer already. Also this year, we are accepted into Questbridge as a new college partner, so giving us an opportunity to be a part of a wider national network of institutions welcoming students from diverse geographic regions as well as diverse backgrounds based on Questbridge's work. We've also done a lot of work to partner with new community-based organizations across the country. And in the 3 years that I've been a part of the team, we've signed on with 3 new college partners across the country. So that's something that we're very excited about, is working with new community-based organizations that are focused on diversity and inclusion within higher education. So definitely something we can do better at, but a lot of work being done already in that particular area. I think the other thing that I might mention is we always are looking at ways that we can support our students better on campus, whether it's centers and resources. We mentioned career services and the great work that they do, but they got a brand new multi-million-dollar building just a year ago, Benton Hall. And so thinking very seriously about, yes, we have a great alumni community. Yes, we have great work and resources that we're doing there, but we can do better. And I think that's one of the things when you look at Colgate, we're very aspirational. Our president, President Brian Casey, who's been there now for 5 years, he's done a great job in the short time in coming to the campus and thinking about ways that we can continue to broaden our reach and do more in support of students. So student support is something we're always looking at and thinking about ways that we can improve, because as a small residential campus, the community aspects and the support is a big piece of what we do.
This one I think would be cool to have you answer. What was your favorite memory from last year's Colgate in Focus?
I talked about having Dr. Jack on campus, Dr. Anthony Jack, from the book he wrote called The Privileged Poor. I think having the program centered around a feature like broader university program or a feature speaker in that way or performer, I think was great, because it gave us an opportunity to be able to showcase the level of types of programming and opportunities that students will experience during their time on campus. And him being a man of color, writing about issues around access in education, and particularly talking about institutions like Colgate, selective private institutions and their admissions process and the resources available on campus, I think was a really great fit for the particular program. And also, he's a Harvard University professor. And actually, I met him. I got my master's degree at Harvard, graduated in 2017, focused in education, and actually had the opportunity to meet him as he was finishing up his PhD before he became an officially faculty member at Harvard. So it was really cool to see him on the campus I currently work for, talking about his experience and some of the research that he's doing.
And since we're kind of getting long on time, because we always want everyone coming back and be able to answer a lot of these questions more in depth. But if you just want to touch on, how would you describe the community atmosphere at Colgate?
Colgate is active, honestly. There's a lot happening. It's a small town and it's a small community, but there's no shortage of opportunities to engage and get involved. So I definitely feel like active is a great word. It's definitely a challenging community for students. It pushes you academically. It pushes you in terms of your extracurriculars. It's definitely going to challenge you in a lot of different ways, but it's also a very supportive community, as we've talked about earlier, and an ambitious place. Both our students are ambitious, our leaders are ambitious, and our goals that we set out as part of this broader third century plan are really ambitious in thinking about, again, how we can do better. So it's a place that's supportive. It's going to offer you a lot. You have access to everyone up to the president. You'll see President Casey walking around campus, engaging students, engaging faculty and different staff. He's very close within the community. His dog Emrys is probably one of the most popular individuals across the community. So definitely you'll see Emrys as well. But it's a place that offers a lot, whether it's sporting events, guest lecturers or performers, community events and opportunities. You saw a couple of clips from Dance Fest, which is our annual event where different dance troupes on campus perform for the entire university. One of the most popular things that we host every year. So definitely a place where you can find something to do and always be engaged and be involved. And if you're not, it's because you're really not trying, because there's a lot for you to participate in.
Perfect. Want to answer any more questions, Jameer, or?
No, I think I'm gonna leave you there. We really wanted to give you guys just kind of a high level view, but we want you to definitely continue to engage and come back. Make sure you visit that page to see some of the different opportunities that are available throughout the summer. Check your email, because we're going to be reaching out to you about this summer series as well as our other summer series. So definitely take advantage of those opportunities so you can get more information about Colgate. And thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone.